afternoon and thank you for staying with us on Third Eye Television, broadcasting from the Central Business District, Abuja. My name is Bivan Bankoni. In our headlines, President Bola Tinubu calls for stronger collaboration between federal and state governments to drive Nigeria's development and prosperity. Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party (PDP), says President Bola Tinubu's New Day address has further confirmed the disconnection of the administration from the people. To the phones in the Islamic State, West Africa has claimed responsibility for an attack on a military base in Somalia's northeastern region of Puntland. Stay tuned for details of these stories and more. Thank you for staying with us to the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has emphasized the critical role of state governors in driving Nigeria's development and prosperity. He said that leadership at the subnational level is central in achieving food security, economic prosperity, and rapid national growth. The president stated this during a New Year homage by Vice President. The president stated this during a New Year homage by Vice President Kashim Shettima and members of the Nigeria Governors Forum. He expressed his gratitude to the governors for their support and collaboration and highlighted key areas requiring joint efforts for the progress of the nation. President Tinubu called for stronger collaboration between the federal and state governments to address pressing challenges, including local government autonomy, agricultural productivity, and currency stability. Reiterating his commitment to local government development and autonomy, the president stressed its importance for grassroots development. Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party (PDP), says that President Bola Tinubu's 2025 New Year Day address has further confirmed the disconnection of the present administration from the people. The National Publicity Secretary of the party, Debo Olagunagba, in a statement reacting to the speech, said Nigerians are appalled that despite the prodding by the PDP and well-meaning Nigerians, President Tinubu's New Year speech did not articulate any specific direction for the nation or profile solutions to the myriads of problems caused by the APC's misrule. The opposition party said if the APC administration has interests of Nigerians at heart, their New Year address would have made definite pronouncement on the price of petroleum products in the country. The statement says, with transparent and innovative management of resources, economic potentials, comparative advantage, national refining capacity, and effective border policing, Nigerians should not pay more than 250 naira per litre for petrol within the country. The Nigerian Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has vowed to ensure the capture of notorious bandit leader Bello Turji. General Musa said it was only a matter of time before the bandit leader is captured because of some of his commanders have been killed while some of his close associates have also been arrested. He spoke while addressing while appearing as a guest on a television program reviewing activities in the year 2024. The Chief of Defense Staff also disclosed that over 120,000 terrorists have surrendered in the northeastern parts of the country. He noted that some of them were forced into insurgency. So the foreigners in the Islamic State, has claimed responsibility for an attack on a military base in Somalia's northeastern region of Puntland on Tuesday. In a statement on its Telegram channel, the Islamic State said the attack was conducted by 12 militants and 2 booby-trapped vehicles, adding that it killed about 22 military personnel from the Puntland forces and injured dozens of others on Tuesday. Security forces in Somalia said they had repulsed an attack by Islamic State suicide bombers on a military base in Puntland. Captain Yusuf Mohammed, an officer in Puntland's counter-terrorism forces, said 9 suicide bombers had been killed and several soldiers had been injured near the town of Dajali in the Bari region. Thank you for staying with us. Next, we have our press review with our guest right here on Third Eye Television. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us on Third Eye Television. And up next is, or right now, we have time for our press review. Right now, we'll be looking at Yoruba Nation's activist and agitator, Chief Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, who has insisted that there will be no going back on the demands for an independent Oduwa Nation in 2023, as the question is not or non-negotiable. Igboho, who has been a prominent figure in Yoruba self-determination movement, on Thursday stated that the wishes of all Yoruba sons and daughters, both at home and in the diaspora, in the new year is to achieve the Yoruba Nation freedom, while assuring all Yoruba people that the pursuit of self-determination remains steadfast and sacrosanct. And also in the New Year message issued by his spokesperson Olayemi Koiki, Igboho emphasized the collective commitment of the Yoruba people to achieving freedom and urged everyone to prepare for peaceful rallies and protests that will amplify the demand for Yoruba sovereignty. And secondly, members of the Nigeria Governors Forum, NGF, have visited President Bola Tinubu in Lagos State on Thursday evening. Tinubu arrived in Lagos from Abuja via presidential jet at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, for the Christmas and New Year celebrations. The president was welcomed by a waiting crowd of supporters and was received by Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Governor of Lagos State. They converged on Lagos House at Marina. From there, they headed to the president's residence. Vice President Kashim Shettima and Femi Gbajabiamila, Chief of Staff to the president, were also present during the visit. And also among those who visited the president were Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, Yahaya Bello, the governor of Kogi State, Ododo, and then and others. All of them were present in Lagos to welcome. All of them were present. Most of the governors in Nigeria were present to welcome, to visit, on a visit to the president in Lagos. And top on the conversation is the fact that he wants local government autonomy to take center stage, and then how the federal government could collaborate with the state governors in achieving national growth and development. And right now in the studio, we have our guest. We have our in-house analysts, media practitioners. We're talking about Mr. Udo Etefia, a public affairs commentator and analyst. We also have Mr. Dahiru Hassan Kera, also a public affairs commentator and media practitioner, right here with us in the studio. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good to see you. Compliments on the season once again. Happy New Year. So we're looking at the agitation. It seems like in Nigeria right now, once someone's brother or tribesman becomes the president, it seems everyone becomes, wants some level of autonomy or some level of control over the others. We're looking at the conversation by Chief Adeyemo, also known as Igboho. He started his agitation a couple of years ago when President Muhammadu Buhari was in charge of affairs of the nation, and it was more of like insecurity that led to that. But right now, Yoruba Man is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Starting with you, Hassan, what do you think is the implication of having someone like this saying that there's going to be more and more agitation? They want self-determination.
Well, I look at first the security implication. We shouldn't allow the unity of Nigeria to be compromised for selfish interest. we were bounded by law and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And Nigeria is a country that is being blessed with so many tribes, you understand, religion and other things. It's very unfortunate that looking back to history, the Biafran War, which was being fought mistakenly even by the actors, they said that later, and it consumes millions of lives. And unfortunately, till today, people are still agitating for division, separatism, and other things. It's quite unfortunate. And like I said, looking at the security implication, this man has been doing this for a very long time. And I think back in 2021, like you said, during the Buhari's administration, his house was raided and weapons was found. So people got arrested and other things, and he ran away. On his way to Germany, he followed Benin, where he was arrested and even jailed in the country that show they cannot play with their own laws of the land. And unfortunately, someone that was on the run and he came back to Nigeria, and he still started agitating for separation of the country. And at a time where a Yoruba man, like you said, is the president of Nigeria. And unfortunately, if you look at the 2023 general election, where every Yoruba man is maybe proud of Lagos being a kind of center of the Southwest. And unfortunately, Tinubu lost in Lagos, you understand? So if these people seriously mean that they want Yoruba nation, your kinsman is contesting an election and he lost in his own hometown, you understand? It's very unfortunate, and I think there's more to it than meet the eye. These people that are agitating, we have seen how the IPOP started, you understand? They sit at home, you understand? They have been a kind of bringing this country down security-wise, economic-wise, and the government is watching. And this guy that come back to Nigeria, since he was on the run, and those people got arrested are still on trial, you understand? Why not the security agencies invite this person at least, caution him, you understand? But it is quite unfortunate that sometimes we turn back to some issues that are very serious and has to do with the unity and progress and peace of the nation. You know, recently we had some minors being arrested, you understand, and you can look at the way the government was so serious until when the public resolved and said these are minors and other things. Why government don't do the same thing to these people that came out, even speak with vigor that this is what we want?
Which is something that is supposed to be some sort of treason.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So it's quite unfortunate, and I call on the security agencies, the government at the center, that they should do whatever they feel they can do within the ambit of the law to punish this person, because it's not wrong. If you want to belong to a country, you understand, belong to a region, all this regionalization and all that is, you understand, Nigeria is not ripe for all these things. If you look at the settings now, Yoruba and Igbo, they mostly everywhere in Nigeria. You go to the nook and crannies in the northeastern part of Nigeria, northwest, you find Igbo man doing chemists and other things. The same thing with Yoruba man selling robbers and other things, you understand? And they are living there peaceful. If you go to the southern part of the country, you can find Fulani man from Iza Gombe or anywhere from the northern part of the country doing his own things peacefully. So I see no reason why someone will just, on his own selfish interest, be saying that he wants Nigeria to divide it and he wants a Yoruba nation. And this is a treasonable offense. And I think the authority should do the needful and stop all these issues.
Okay, interesting conversation there. And then, what you were talking, a lot was going through my mind, especially when you said something about if you go to the northeast, you see Igbos, you see Yorubas, and it's appalling that people who live in Nigeria don't even know much about Nigeria. You know, I was sitting down with some guys a couple of weeks ago, and we were discussing, and they said something to me. I said, how do you survive with the insecurity in places like Zamfara and all of that? Do you have other tribes there? And he said to me, yes, of course, we have other tribes. What are they doing there? He said, there's one thing you need to know about northern Nigeria, especially far, far north, like places like Zamfara. If you're a stranger, If someone touches you, the whole community and everybody around there rally behind in order to protect you. But there's an internal conflict, right? But they are more interested in protecting you, who is a stranger. And that's how interesting Nigeria can be. But let's look at it from this way, Udo. We spread in the news that in Finland, Simon Ekpa was arrested by the Finnish government, and being the fact that it's the same agitation, separatist, secessionist agitations, and Ekpa is outside the country. Now, Igboho has been in Nigeria for quite some time after his return from Benin Republic, where he was under some arrest for some time, detention for some time, and then under house arrest until Buhari stepped down before he came back into the country and all of that. Or was it? Did he come back when Buhari was still in power, or
No,
it was after?
It was when President Tinubu
Came in and then he's back. Now, don't you think there's a level of double standard here? You have one in Finland, you want to extradite him to Nigeria. We had Nnamdi Kanu in the UK who was later on arrested in Kenya and extradited to Nigeria. And now we have Simon, that's what's his name? Sunday Igboho here in Nigeria, talking about secession and, kind of like having some level of sovereignty for the Yorubas. Don't you think there's a double standard at play here?
Well, one does not, excuse me.
Sorry about that.
One does not really understand why the government is treating Igboho or Adeyomo, Sunday Adeyomo, different from Nnamdi Kanu and different from Simon Ekpa. These are the same things. They all are agitating for, the same thing. So why do you leave this one to be walking free in the society and making noise and threatening everybody? Now, it started this whole thing from the time of President Muhammadu Buhari. And then people thought maybe because of the insecurity, because of the passive marginalization of certain tribes by the government of Muhammadu Buhari, that was why it was agitating. Right now, the Yoruba man is at the driver's seat. The Yoruba man is the president of Nigeria. Why is he coming out again to threaten and to say that all Yoruba sons and daughters? And if you are asking, who are the Yoruba sons and daughters? Where did they meet? When did they meet to agree that Sunday Igboho should come out and speak on their behalf? No. There is no referendum, there is no plebiscite that the Yoruba sons and daughters have come together to agree that they want to opt out of Nigeria. And if you ask, who is the head of the Yoruba nations now? Is it not President Bola Tinubu, the number one son of Yorubas? And he's the president of Nigeria.
Number one Nigerian, of course.
Yes, of all Nigeria. And who is the daughter? If you talk of who is number one daughter of Yoruba, is it not Remi Tinubu?
Yeah.
So who are they talking about? Who is Sunday Igboho talking about that they've agreed together to, agitate for the sovereignty of Oodua nation, that is the Yoruba nation. So I think there is more that meets the eye than what he's saying. Maybe there is something he's looking for. Maybe there is something that, apart from agitating for Yoruba nation. This is where the security agency should come in and look into it. Before you know it, this thing can snowball into some other things. Others will say that if he could do this and nothing is said, and they themselves can start their own agitation, and you shouldn't leave them free. The same thing that you have done to Nnamdi Kanu should be done to Sunday Igboho. I do not know why they leave him free to be walking the streets.
A very funny and interesting.
Issuing statements, yes.
Very funny and interesting conversation here because it gets you wondering, it makes you to think and question a lot of things. Where is the one Nigerianness? Someone will wake up, is playing his politics today, and the government looks the other way. Another person is playing the same game, and the government goes for that person, and it doesn't sound right. Okay, so we're moving to the next conversation here. First of all, let's start a couple of weeks ago, about a week or two ago. The president had his first media chat. First of all, what do you think about the idea of a president having a media chat in his own house and not at a villa or at a public place? Let's start with you.
Well, I don't see it as a problem. I say so long as he's a president and wherever he feel he can speak, let him speak. But what concerns me more is the content of the speech. And
No, I'm talking about the presidential media chat, the one that took place a couple of weeks ago.
that's what I'm
Not
saying.
the New Year
That's what I'm
visit by the
saying.
governors.
Where
Yeah.
I don't have problem where the president is doing chat or issue statement. You understand? So far we agree he's our president. You understand? What is more for me is the content of what he has been saying and the current problems Nigerians are facing. You understand? Does that media chat, you understand, relate to the problems on ground? You understand? Or maybe kind of giving hope to the people? That's the question we'll be asking. Because if you look at the prevailing situation in Nigeria, people are expecting, right from the media chat, you understand, the New Year message, you understand, people are just been disappointed because it doesn't tally with the problems on ground. You understand what people expected? I've been saying it that since the coming of this administration, a lot of things have happened to Nigerians. You understand the inflation rate and other things, and they keep on promising and promising. You understand, and like I said always, a journey of 4 years. You understand, we are at the middle of the journey now, and nothing positive is happening. Less than the promise and promise here and there.
So can you just relate this conversation now to the visit by the NGF, the Nigeria Governors Forum, and members of the National Assembly and high-profile personalities in the country as a whole?
Yeah.
What's your take on the whole
Yeah,
visit?
actually, I laughed when I go through the statements, the conversation, and all that. You know, the whole conversation, the crux is it centered around the autonomy of the local governments and unity, synergy between the government at the center and the sub-nations. That's the state governments and the local governments as well. But you know, we have a problem. Even though some governors are even against the autonomy of local governments. So some legal practitioners have been saying maybe in the eyes of the law, you understand, though it was a pronouncement by the Supreme Court and all that is, we have to and must to obey with it. But beyond all these things, you see, if you want to have an autonomy for local governments to give them their own leverage to do whatever they feel like doing to make sure that people are feeling the impact positively of the government. Definitely, you have to do same on the electoral processes, the processes that brought those local government chairmen to power. You know, there's no way I can appoint Mr. Udo as a local government chairman. At the end of the day, the federal government has sent the money to the local government corpus, and I said, Mr. Udo, come, let's sit down. This is how I want you to do with the money and other things. And you expect Mr. Udo to say no to me. But if at all, maybe looking at the parameters, if the government will do much on maybe giving the INEC a responsibility to conduct local government elections, that will give a chance for opposition parties to participate and maybe to have a kind of a state having like 50-50 local government chairmen from the opposition party, some from the ruling party. You understand? But now what we have is like a ruling party taking all. You understand? Anywhere you have election in a state, you find out that the ruling party in that state will win all the local government elections. And but virtually in some cases, you find out that the opposition party will feel very much uncomfortable, even right from the process, and sometimes withdraw from the process, and they will allow the ruling party to have the day. And I don't expect, even by giving the local government autonomy, financial autonomy, you understand, but governors per se appointing the local government chairmen, because to me it's like just an appointment. Because even at the internal party process, you find out there wasn't a proper primary election, you understand, but just governors will pinpoint this person to go for this local government. At the end of the day, the same thing will happen during the election. So without the two being given to the local government, I don't see us getting out of the mess we have before.
Interesting conversation. Masoud, let's get back to you and your take on the visit. And in general, what do you feel about the because the PDP said you are not addressing pertinent issues, insecurity, um, and then food security and all of that. Those are very, very important issues that need to be discussed. We expected to hear from the president, but he was more like, okay, let me just have this conversation with you, and then you go and get local government about food, about inflation, about the currency, and all of that. It's stability, the stability of the naira to the dollar, and all of that. Nothing was said.
Well, I think from what came out from that meeting, I feel that the president and the governors are already looking at 2027 election. The president, the way he spoke to the governor, appears to be saying, okay, let's look at it this way, let's look at it that way. Because you see, this local government autonomy of a thing, the governors are not happy about it. That if the presidency goes all out to implement local government autonomy, the governors would not be in control of the local government. And you find out that the money that goes to the local government, if they do not have control over it, they feel that they've been let out of the system. So from there are discussions with the president. The president tried to tell them, okay, you are at the center of the subnational. Go and manage this thing. So it means that the federal government, besides the Supreme Court judgment that says there should be election of local government, of those that manage the local government system, and not what has been, obtainable, a situation where, state governors just appoint caretaker committees to man the local government system. But now the Supreme Court says, if you don't have election, no fund for the local government. So this is the way, the area that the governors are looking at. Will this money come to us? Will it not? The president now say, go and manage it. Go and look at it. Go and see how you will settle it. Because he's looking at 2027. If these governors are not happy with him, they may work against him because of local government, administration. I think that's the way I'm looking at it. And that is the way the president is trying to pacify the governors so that they will work with him towards 2027.
Interesting conversation. Well, you are still watching Third Eye Television right here, broadcasting from the Central Business District, Abuja. And do remember, you will like, share, comment, and tell us exactly what you feel about these 2 points of race. We're talking about secessionist groups and personalities. We've had Nnamdi Kanu extradited all the way from Kenya down to Nigeria, and he's still in custody of the Department of State Services. We also have Simon Ekpa in Finland, who has been arrested, but we have Sunday Igboho, who is here in Nigeria, and the double standard plays in our presence, in our eyes, before all of us in Nigeria. Is that right? What do you think about, of course, what are your predictions for 2024 politically in the country? So that question right here is, I'm asking you directly. And of course, back to you when he's done.
Okay. Prediction for 2025?
Yeah.
Well, looking at it from all indications, it appears that the hardship is going to continue. Because right now, what is behind the hardship that Nigerians are going through is the high price of petroleum products. Because that is what oil the economic activities in Nigeria. Talk of transportation, talk of factory, because electricity is not constant. And people run their factories, with generators. And the prices of diesel, of petrol, everything that comes from petroleum is on top of the roof. So if these things continues like this in 2025, I don't know if there's a way out. Nigerians are still going to go through the hardship they are experiencing currently.
Interesting. So let's hear from you.
Follow Street, because if you look at, read through the president message, you understand, or rather promises that maybe taking inflation rate from 34% to 15%, you understand. And these things are things that maybe has to do with the government policy and interventions. And without government putting things on ground to make sure that those things that are promising happen, I don't see us getting out of the whole thing. Like Mr. Udo said, taking out this subsidy, you understand, it was has generated to this situation Nigerians are facing, even with the Naira and other things. But yet, there wasn't anything positive on the side of the government to cushion the effect of this subsidy removal. You look at what government was always saying that, okay, doing that was just to maybe try to stop some few Nigerians by from taking advantage from the subsidy funds and other things, siphoning the funds, so that they can channel the money to the state governments and other things, so that the masses, the Nigerians will feel the impact positively on the other issues. But sadly, you end up government trying to feed the nation. Maybe you see in some state governors will collect billions of naira. At the end of the day, they will end up sharing a kind of spaghetti, you understand, that cannot take a particular family maybe up to a week. And this thing is what
A week is too long. A week is too long.
no, I'm just to be just fair to some of them, you understand. But you see, the outcries and lamentations by Nigeria is very unprecedented, and I think it's high time to for the government to look inwards to see how they can make sure those how to maybe reduce the inflation rate and all that. Is you cannot just do these things by mere speaking or promises and all that. Is and what I saw the government doing is just to promise here and there. We have presidential child, we have everything. Anytime is promise or promise, and nothing is changing on the ground. Like Mr. Udo said, no matter what you can do, if the fuel price is on the high side, nothing can come down, because the cost of transportation, people, most of us are businessmen doing business, petty trading and other things, but without this maybe financial buoyancy to go from this market to this market, I can't see us going out of it. And look at the government still remove the subsidy on energy. You understand that to bring a kind of hardship to the citizens. You understand? Without energy, we're going nowhere. You understand? When I saw as part of the message that the president is encouraging industries and other things, you understand? There's no way you can bring investors without having energy security and other things. So it's high time we make sure that Nigeria is very much secured for investors to come, and we make sure that we have available energy for industries to be set up. You understand? These are things that when you are doing, you make sure that your economy will kind of receive a boost and all that. But without this technical intervention, I don't see us going out of this situation.
All right, that is it on the press review today, being the second day of January. Now, somebody said something today. That was yesterday. I read somewhere. It said today.